Being your true authentic self gets you on the course of where you're destined to be. That invisible bully wasn't a bully no more. When I stepped into my truth, I stepped into a new part of my life, and I got to truly live. And then I was like, oh my God, I didn't have this burden. And then I actually got to do what Jermaine liked. Because I'm in my truth, I don't get lost. To be able to walk in that and live in your truth, there's a natural aura, a natural presence that is in me, that people feel it. I challenge people that are just afraid to take a leap of faith. You got to step out of that land of familiar into the land of unfamiliar to begin your journey.
So we're back here live. No, we're not live. Yeah. Okay. So look, here's the thing. We've got to blaze through this thing because I know you've got work in the morning. Yeah. What time's class? Oh, we both have class.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Yikes. Yeah, that's why I failed that other class. At 8 o'clock, well, that's not why, but it didn't help, let's just say.
Yeah, early mornings are pretty tough.
Yeah.
Subject is pretty. I stay in Snellville.
Snellville.
Yeah, I actually used to live right down the street from here. My house, my actual house is still there. I rent it out. It's in.
Oh, you rent it out?
Yeah, it's in Mableton.
Yeah.
I had to repeat the address. There you have it.
Yep, that's it. So you rent your house out?
Yeah.
And are you in an apartment now?
No, I'm staying with my mom.
Okay, so talk to us about renting a house out, because I know there's probably at least one person watching or listening who is interested in.
Well, I went through a realtor agency, and they had all of the forms for me, the rental agreement. They did the screening, and they actually set up everything. So I really didn't have too much involvement in that. Just reviewed the contract, paid the fee, and got the tenant in, set up a direct deposit, and the tenant pays on a certain day. So
you can hire an agency to come in and get you a renter. They get you a renter?
Well, this specific agency did that. I don't know if all.
Okay, well,
but
I mean,
yeah, essentially, yeah.
Essentially, if you get the right agency, they'll find you a renter.
Yeah.
They'll vet them, check them out.
Background checks, criminal checks, to see that they make, well, in this case, 3 times the income. From what I was asking was a pretty big amount. So
gross income.
The gross income and yeah, they would have to pay the first last month, and yeah, that was a lot.
But I mean, it makes it a lot easier if you have an agency who can come in and do it. And so, what, you just pay them a percentage? Or is it a flat fee? Yeah,
that was a flat fee, and I paid the flat fee, and yeah.
Do you pay the flat fee
one time
before they find the person or after?
No, after.
Okay, so really, you don't have anything to lose.
Nope. And when the tenant moves in, they pay the first and last month rent, so the money is guaranteed pretty much.
So if I'm not mistaken, you have something that a lot of people aspire to have, which is passive income.
Yeah. Well, you know, I invested wisely while I was in the military, and I put my I put goals that were going to be substantial as a priority, and what I did was I invested in a home, you know, and that was one of the biggest, smartest investments I had, because once I had separated from the military, it was challenging, and the house became a tool that I could use to make money once, you know, I'm separated out of it, versus if I just stayed in an apartment.
Right. And did you buy the house outright, or are you still
making payments? Yes.
Right.
I make payments on it, but yeah.
Okay. And so do you, like, is it a break-even thing, or do you get a little bit extra
No, I get extra.
Okay.
That was why I said I asked for a nice amount. So for me to get that, I was actually a little caught off guard. But I'm like, hey, that works. So yeah, that's awesome.
And when did this start?
Last month, February. So.
Oh wow, so this is fresh.
Yeah,
That's well, congratulations.
Thanks.
I mean, that's really I think a big step and a big deal.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially being what I came from. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to go into detail about that.
Yeah, I had when I had separated out of the military, I did get an honorable discharge, but it wasn't necessarily on my own terms. Mm-hmm. So, I was in the military for 10 years, so that's half of a career. And so, when I had separated, I went through a big depression, like huge depression.
Can you go into detail about the situations or what led to the discharge itself?
Well, it was coming up on my end of service, which is known as an EOS for people that are in the military. But I don't want to go into too much details about it, yeah. But I had a open case that was involved with a lot of big military personnel. So I was, I was, I was under a lot of pressure, and I had went through a lot. And there was 2 years leading up to my separation, so I got to go through something that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But I mean, once again, it was my journey. So that's what opened me up to learning myself. It was a hard knock. It was hard knocks, but it made me go within.
So do you think that it's just too early for you to really talk about something like that, I guess, publicly?
No, I mean, it's just that it's something that I really truly how could I say it? It's it's still kind of sore because there was a lot of injustice that had transpired, and I had it's still kind of sore for me. Like, I mean, I'm so proud of where I am from where I was, but I'm talking about a huge injustice. Like, I was when you're separated out through the military involuntarily, you're entitled to what they call as a severance package. Okay, and when I'm talking about a severance package, I'm talking about $200,000 severance package that was robbed from me.
And there's no course of action that you could take to pursue that? Well,
I was recently introduced to something that is going to possibly address it.
Okay, good.
But for me to be able to get over that agony, because I mean, that's a huge loss, right? Mind you, when I separated, I didn't have a job lined up, and I only had a little bit of like my actual liquidated savings, and my other option was to pull out from my 401k. And so
which you're not supposed to do.
Which you're not supposed to do, because you would get penalized, and it's like really, really bad. And I didn't pull out to this day from my 401k, so thank you God I didn't have to do that. But I did have to experience some really heavy bumps in the road. Like I missed my mortgage payment. I missed for the first time of 18 years. I was with AT&T for years. For the first time in 18 years, I had my first missed, phone payment and bills coming in and gas getting cut off. And I never had went through those experiences in my life because I've been working ever since I was 16 in a work permit. So one of my biggest fears was being homeless. And so for me, going through that was really traumatic. What ended up happening was I ended up having a friend that was helping me throughout that time. And I kind of was codependent on him, and it was a really toxic situation. But in the time, it helped me out a lot. because it was another entity there. You know what I mean? So I was, I remember being so depressed I couldn't even get out the bed. I wouldn't shower or anything. I was like bed, just stuck in the bed, you know. And so, yeah, it healed me because it allowed me to go within and go to places I had never been within myself. It allowed me to look at like childhood issues and how can I heal myself. And so that's where I started to tap into like the different energies and like more into my spirituality and started becoming more familiarized with things like that.
Okay, well, if you could please just talk to us about being your true authentic self and how your journey and your experience with the military allowed you to learn more about your true self.
Being your true authentic self gets you on the course of where you're destined to be. And when you go through a very dark period of your life, you're going to have to rely on God. You're going to have to rely on a source of essence, because everything logical kind of goes out the window, especially if you have big superpowers that are your enemies, like direct enemies at that time. So being my true self, it gave me a backbone. It gave me a backbone. And you know what? Despite everything that transpired, when I spoke, people listened because they knew I wasn't going to be giving them no bullshit. Because they're like, here is a guy who stood in the truth, his truth, and did not deviate from that, despite all odds, even him losing his career. So I know that when he's speaking, he's saying something. So my words have more power, and that gave me value in my life that I wouldn't have been able to read in the book, because it's like I actually got a chance to be that hero in my story, in my movie, in my life, and I lived up to that character. And so there's a sense of pride that I have now. There's a sense of a way that I walk now. There's a sense of way of a confidence that I have within myself. And because I'm in my truth, I don't get lost, because I know how to speak from my heart. I know how to speak from my mind, because this is my truth. I don't have to worry about recanting things or did I say this or did I not say this, because I know my truth.
It's easy to repeat what you've already said because you're not going to say something that isn't real and true to you.
Exactly. See how that goes full circle?
Yeah, it's like we were just talking about it.
It puts you back in life. It gets you in sync. So it's like you have a true purpose. So you become more powerful. People see you as more powerful because there's a level of I would say there's a level of achievement that a lot of people cannot reach. A lot of people fear the truth, because when you live in your truth, that's the most closest that you can get to God, because according to the word, he's the way, he's the truth, and he's the light. So when you embody that truth, you get so much closer to God, and when you meet God, you're dead. So naturally people are afraid of the truth because it could be very intimidating. Some people fear the truth. They literally will kill people if you say certain things. So to be able to walk in that and live in your truth, there's a natural aura, a natural presence that is in me that people feel it. And like I said, when I speak, people listen.
You got my attention. Something you had spoke about on the podcast, you even mentioned it in class, right? That you're openly gay.
Yeah.
And, you know, you reference back to Christian teachings a lot. We talked earlier about how you don't necessarily identify with the religion of Christianity, but it sounded to me like a lot of the principles and a lot of the teachings and a lot of the spiritual lessons that are taught throughout the Bible are things that you connect to and you do believe in.
Yes.
And so I just would want to know, talk to us about, just even the fact that you said, I'm openly, or, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And I know there's conflict when you talk about military and being openly gay.
Yeah.
For sure. And then to take it a step further, within religion or within even spiritual talks, I think sometimes there can be.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy with that.
Right.
It's blasphemy.
Yeah.
I'm an abomination. But I'm here. It's my truth. It's
right.
My thought is this, like, God knows my heart. God knows my mind. And I can sit here and put a mask on for you as a society, but God still knows. So for me, I'm going to live in my truth. This is me in my nakedness. If you want to equate it to what happened in Adam in the Garden of Eden, when they realized they were naked, they covered themselves. They were ashamed. And so for me, it's like, I'm not ashamed. This is me in my nakedness. This is me in my truth. I'm not perfect. Yeah. But this is my reality nonetheless. And so for me to be in my true form and true self, the best I can do for people that are in a religion aspect is not to become a stumbling stone. So that's the reason why I kind of don't really necessarily go to church. And
because you don't want to
be a fraud, be a play actor. I can't give you what you want because you want it, because my purpose of going to church is to get the word.
Right.
Okay. But if I have to put on a facade so you can be okay, so it won't trip you up, that to me is like, it makes me feel fraudulent. It makes me feel some kind of way. So.
I think that's very commendable of you to put others, I guess, religious walk or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's almost like you're putting their walk, I don't want to say before yours, because you can get all those things without going into the physical, temple or church.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's definitely another side to it where there's people who say, they're going to go to church and they're going to like change the philosophy and the ideology of the church to have a new and more progressive understanding of what a true Christian is.
And everybody has a different journey in life.
Right.
And some people that may be their journey to take. I'm just in a level of a high vibration where I know what it means to be a Christian. For me, Christianity is not a religion, it's a reality. So when I embody the characteristics of a Christ, it would be loving, compassionate, wise, merciful, things that I can actually intake and apply to myself. So those characteristics are, to me, like my armor, because we don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against spirits and principalities. So if I'm fighting against you, I'm not getting into it with Josh. I'm actually getting into it with that spirit, whatever that is, whether it's anger, jealousy, envy, hate.
Sorry, I'm just making sure we're still recording over here. I'll check it in 10 minutes or in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Seeing some different things. Go ahead.
So, my ultimate goal is to, once again, get to whatever God has destined for me. I have an inkling of what it is, and so that's where I'm gonna drive towards. And in that journey, I realize that I can't do everything on my own. So that's where you hear like the body of Christ. Well, what's the body of Christ? It's the people, and it's not just somebody that looks like me or prays like me. It's somebody who I can resonate with.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, not to linger on it too long, but I mean, for the people out there who are ignorant and may not understand how somebody could be gay.
Yeah.
Like, let's just talk about, like, when did you know that
I was gay?
That's who you were?
I was, oh my God, I was like probably 3 or 4. There was a movie called New Jack City, and I was like, there was this actor named Alan Payne. He was G Money in the movie, and I was like, oh my God, he is so fine.
At 3 or 4?
Yeah, well, my mom called him fine, and I was like, that's what he is, fine.
That's
and I mean, yeah, and he took my breath away. So it literally is it is something that's just in you. It's like, it would be, I don't know, for you to try to force yourself to be gay would be for me to try to force myself to be straight.
That's, I've always made that comparison because I think that's how I've always thought of it. Like, there's no way that I could, it's like, yeah, it would just, to even contemplate that is almost like,
That's how it's hard. That's how it is for me to navigate that straight path. And it's just something that you knew. It's just like, when did you know that you were straight?
Yeah, I don't think it's something you really consciously think about. Now, maybe for you, it's different because you're like,
it's
why?
Taboo.
Yeah, you're like, wait, this is different. People don't normally.
Yeah. Well, it stood out more. It was more profound because I'm naturally more feminine energy, so I was into the Little Mermaid, and I had like 2 brothers, but I was like into like Ariel and all the like feminine things, Cherry Mary Muffin. I was into
so
I was into hair. I loved hair, long hair.
That's funny. Are your brothers older or younger?
One older, one younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've always heard this thing about, like, something about hormones. Have you heard this? Like,
yeah.
For every child, like,
there's like one that has the gay gene.
Well, no, not the gay gene. It's just like, so the first male child is gonna have the most, like, the highest level of
testosterone,
something like that.
Oh.
And then as it goes down, it's like it decreases and decreases.
Well, I don't know about that, but
You've never heard that?
I haven't heard that specific.
Is your younger brother gay?
No.
Okay, so that kind of throws that theory out the.
Yeah.
But
he would have been all the way gay then. Right.
That's funny.
There is a such thing, but yeah, like, I mean, I think, to me, like I said, this is gonna sound so bad, but I feel like gay people are like the natural birth control.
Oh, damn, that's a interesting way to look at it. Yeah, that's population control, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, never thought about it like that. You heard it first here on Inspire Distraction. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Life? That's the beauty of life. Like, life is all connected. It has a way of, balances itself out. It has a way of like making things come whole and come balanced. Everything has a purpose. Even the abominable things, like one of the abominable things in the Bible is a pig. But it has a purpose it serves. So like everything has a purpose and it serves, and only God can really judge.
Yeah, served on my breakfast plate.
Well, I mean, no knocks, but like, but yeah,
you don't like a little applewood smoked bacon?
I can't lie. I've had bacon, and it does taste really good.
That thick cut.
Yeah, but you gotta everything with moderation.
Hold on, let me just check this. Okay, we got 16 minutes. Still going.
Cool.
It's still rolling. All right, so we just covered the fact that when you were 3 years old, you saw, who was it?
G Money.
G Money. Well,
New Jack City. That's the movie.
Okay.
Alan Payne is the actor.
And you thought, wow.
Yeah.
What a guy.
What a catch. Yeah.
So, okay. So at 3, like, I don't think I ever looked at a woman and thought like, oh, she's pretty or she's fine. Like I was way older. Like I don't know if it was just
Well, there's a cultural difference, you know, like with the things that I was exposed to as a adult, as a youth. It wasn't like cartoon stuff. I mean, it was, but then we were, you know, I had a young mother, so we were exposed to like rated R movies, and it was like, you know, so you got to see sex scenes, and you got to, so it's like that exposure kind of matured us a little bit faster.
That makes sense. That's interesting to think about because my sister's got 2 kids. Well, she's about to have her 3rd kid. But like she's, I guess you would say she's a young mom, and I think she had her first kid when she was, I don't know, I think she was 18, 19, right around that age. And
that's how my mom was.
And like she's cool with like playing rap music, you know, with cuss words. And like when I get the kids, if I'm babysitting, like I'm like, you know, we're putting clean version on, and like we're not even coming close to anything that's like remotely you know,
explicit.
Yeah. And so I'm just like this total opposite. But and it's funny because I was probably exposed to that stuff, but not as like, I just didn't realize it because I'm, you know, it's like a lot of times kids aren't paying attention anyways. And music's different now too, so that's a whole different thing. Movies are one thing where, and I think it's, as a society, I think we've just became more censored anyways, like when it comes to movies and like what we're, so whereas it may have been a lot more casual and normal to like have on a rated R movie and the kid be in the room, it's like, who cares, right? It's life. The kid's going to see it eventually. Kid's going to hear it eventually.
Yeah.
So might as well get started now.
Yeah.
And then you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Move on.
But what I've learned is that having those exposures at a young age has been a huge distraction, because now you're talking about like a kid in grade school who is trying to figure out their hormones, who are trying to figure out like, why am I like lusting? You don't even know what that word is, or you don't even know what that emotion is, and it's literally keeping you from doing your writing, reading, arithmetic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for parents to realize that they are creating an environment for their child, and that environment has an impact on the way that they're moving throughout their everyday life. And when they go to school and they interact with other kids, it's so deep, and it's it just makes me wonder, how do you do it in a way where your kid can just live life without those distractions until like a much, you know, older age?
Well, that's the beauty of life. Life is not guaranteed anything. We try to control as much as we can, which is a good thing. But I mean, kids are going to be exposed to the real world. That's just life. Now, like I said, everything is about temperance and moderation. So there is a level of exposure that you want, because that allows them to ask those questions instead of finding it out from another source that can be more manipulative or harmful.
Or thinking that it's just like anybody who is experiencing those things and
don't know how to navigate it themselves.
Right. Well, it's like, if I've never experienced anything and then you've experienced these things that are making you act differently, or like that could put me in a place where I can't relate, and I think you're just full of shit, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And it creates almost like a separation.
It's really almost desensitized, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's experience that sensitizes us and gives us a sense of an experience.
Yeah.
So when we don't experience certain things, we don't have a sense of what that could be like or how that could impact us.
And naturally, as humans, we have 5 senses, right? And so out of those 5 senses, which is touch, taste, hearing, seeing, and feeling, we naturally gravitate to wanting to understand certain things, especially if we don't understand it. So, yeah, it's kind of like getting a vaccine shot, right? It gives you somewhat of an exposure to the flu, right? But it serves in a greater purpose so you can build up an immunity to it. That's how life kind of, I would say it is. You gotta get your feet dirty. You gotta get your hands dirty. You gotta have exposure. And once again, it comes with, that comes with wisdom. Wisdom is something that it can be taught, but it's mostly like it's an intuitive thing as well. And so I feel like our generation lacks a lot of that. And it gives a lot of purpose to a lot of people. So there's a lot of void in a lot of people because they're missing that true spirituality that ties things and make things make sense, because that's really attractive too, right?
So I just had a flashback to something you mentioned in your maid talk.
Yeah.
And I just connected it actually with something my great grandfather said. Hey, shout out to great grandfather.
All right, Gigi Paul.
Papa. He's literally 98 years old, still living right now.
Happy birthday, or happy?
No,
98. Well,
it was about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he's OG, like
yeah.
as real as it gets. Oh yeah, I love him. But you said, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was, it's the hard knocks that, how'd you say it?
It's the hard knocks in life that we gain understanding, gain wisdom.
Wisdom, that's what it was. Okay, right. And my great grandfather literally said basically the same thing. Like it's those hard knocks that develop character.
Yeah. Jay-Z song, Hard Knock Life.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's why he's such a strong lyricist, because when you go through so much pain, there's a lot of wisdom in that. And that's why I feel like for women, they have like even wisdom is referred to as a woman. And I think that is because there's so much pain that a woman goes through from just life in general. And those pains or those pressures makes diamonds. It's like once everything heals, it turns into something extremely beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a fact. I think it's through trauma, like we come out the other side not only stronger emotionally, but also stronger intellectually. But it's again, it's what we were talking about earlier. There's I guess
knowledge and wisdom.
Well, there's emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And there's, I guess, intellectual intelligence. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. IQ and EQ.
Yeah, so, but it's that emotional intelligence that
it's not as common as people. It's not as common as it should be, because a lot of people don't know how to exercise it.
Well, I think we call emotional intelligence wisdom, because when you talk about emotion, we just hinted at it earlier that emotion is like spirituality. There's a bit of vagueness to it. There's a bit of mystery to it. We don't have it. There's no factual, like, specific thing that we can point to.
I would say that emotion is a part of wisdom, because you got to remember, your mind and your heart are both spiritual things. Okay, so it's the connection, that chemical connection, when you create that and formulate a thought, that's wisdom. It's being able to intuitively roll with the punches.
Okay.
Know how to connect the dots and just make it happen. And it's just, it resonates, and it's like a perfect fit for somebody. And it's like, damn, I feel the shit out of that. That just resonate with my mind and my heart. damn, you got me like feeling good.
Right.
That's wisdom.
Okay. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you just go through shit and you don't know how to articulate it, or you don't know how to really assess the situation and evaluate how it impacted you and why it impacted you the way it did, then you might not grow from that. It might hold you back forever.
It could, or you could find a way to articulate it, and then once you did, guess what you just did? You just created something. You created a way of you escaping out of that.
Well, at that point, yeah, you've gained some wisdom.
There you go.
But
there you go. And once you have wisdom, you always have it.
Yeah.
It can't be stolen. It's not like my phone, it can be replaced or has to get replaced. No, it's something you'll have forever.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that, because so much rap music is, a lot of it's deep, and a lot of it's really got some insightful messages within it. And I've got a friend of mine who, I mean, like, you know, as much trauma as a white person can go through, I think he's been through it. And I only say that because you're not white, right? Because if it was just too white, and I would probably say that if you were white.
You know, people go through things. It doesn't matter what color they are.
I know, but, you know, there's the stigma that, you know, it's harder for white people to really
relate as a whole to the pain, because your guys are like the superior.
Yeah, it's like, even if you had
race,
it bad, it's like, well, but at least you're white, right?
Well, yeah, in a given sense, yeah. But like, the reason why like black music is so powerful is because there is a lot of pain. There is a lot of meaning behind it. Mm-hmm. There's a story to tell. And when you can relate to, like, it started off with rhythm and blues. The blues came from old hymns. The hymns came from tortures and traumatic events that you got to experience. Imagine watching your wife being gang raped, or imagine watching your husband being emasculated, or imagine you're watching your children being sold. So those pains are something that can sometimes only be expressed through music, or through notes, or through a melody. And so when someone hears that tone, it's like that spirit speaks so many different words. It means so many different things.
See, I think music is you talk about us all being connected. Music is that thing that can absolutely, like, in the present, connect us all. It is the universal language. Like, when it was, Babylonian times, they were just all singing and playing
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's about, like, I don't have to hear what somebody says, but when their voice is an instrument and they hit that tone, they hit that note.
Their Mariah Carey note.
Right? It literally pierces through the
soul.
I mean, but it's like it goes through the physical dimension, into that emotional realm. Yeah. And we're like, what is this emotion stuff? And then the sounds connect to the emotions. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. But what I had started with there was my friend who, he's been through a lot of shit. And when it comes to rap, he's not only does he have a story to tell, but he's able to tell it in so many unique and different ways. Yeah. And I think that really goes back to, like, he's experienced these things and he's thought about them, and he's really, really dove into, like, how did that affect me and why did it affect me that way? And also, even in the creative process of making the music, he's going back to that place. He's revisiting the side of the trauma, and he's giving it a new interpretation and a new meaning for why it happened and how it all culminated to create him to be the person that he is.
That's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see music play such a positive role in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not like he's like doing it as a famous artist. He's not doing it as a career. He's just literally in the process of soul searching.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck am I? And music, I mean, it's always been that for me. And I've always used it for that. But for him, like, he had never really got into it like that. He was always just a listener, and he never even, I don't know if he ever thought about it, but all I know is once he started, he just, for one, he saw the power that it gave him, and he realized that he was actually pretty fucking good at it. Like, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't something that he couldn't do. And so,
well, they say that when you find wisdom, you find a good thing. It's more precious than silver and gold, because it literally is where your abundance is. So for him to be able to find his voice, and when you're in that spiritual realm, it relates to anybody. Don't matter what your race, what your gender, what your age. The truth is the truth. And when it resonates with people, people going to feel it. So being that he can effectively articulate his emotions and what he's experienced, shows a great deal of, one, him tapping into his authentic self, and two, being able to do the self-work. Because a lot of people, they run from that pain.
Yeah.
But he found his treasure.
Yeah. I like, for him, it's still a journey that he's on. It's still a journey that I'm on, right?
Yeah, that's life.
We're all on it, but it's, sometimes people, they don't actually start the journey towards self-discovery.
Yeah, because we wear these masks.
Yeah.
We wear these masks. We live a life that we think that we should live versus living a life that we ought to live.
Well, not that we think we should live, but that we think is acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell you about wearing a mask. I literally, when I was...
I never got to that. Speaking of mask. Okay, because we talked about... let me just make sure this camera's on.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, so get off your phone. This is Inspired Distraction.
I was flirting.
Okay, speaking of flirting, so you realized when you were 3, all right, G Money, that's your guy.
Yeah.
What a catch. And
Still
then,
is.
so from there, it's like, when did you come out? How did you come out? And what was that whole process like? Was it...
So the journey of me wearing the mask up until I was, 16, 17 when I finally came out, I remember how much energy I burnt in wearing these masks. I would watch the way I walked, the way I talked, what I was thinking, what I was saying, and I wasn't living. I was just existing. And I didn't realize how exhausting it was, and how much I isolated myself from the world, because I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people to see my shame. And but people saw right through me, and so it took for me to have a nervous breakdown for me to be able to open my eyes to see the truth. And I will remember when I did have that nervous breakdown, it was the most beautiful thing. Like, sometimes, like, the most traumatic things could be the beautiful thing, because they literally allowed me to feel peace, genuine peace, for the first time. And I was like, God, how can I keep this? And it was like, just be truthful. Just be truthful. That way you don't have to feel the fear of telling a lie and it catching up to you.
And you said 16 or 17?
Yeah.
And who was the first person you told?
Well, A lot of people don't. But I would say, well, my mom, she was like, Jermaine, she was like, if you're gay, just say it, because you'll be much happier.
Was it like you were trying to build up to tell her, and she just was like, go ahead and just say it?
Well, yeah. And then there was like these like little things called party line and stuff like that. She caught me on one time.
What is it?
Party line was like, some people that were my age know this. You call and then like say hello, and you like talk to like a person on the other end. You don't know what this person looked like, but it was so intriguing because it was like, oh my God, I get to exercise something. It was so like, oh my God. But yeah, she was on the other line and heard me have a full conversation. It was nothing like erotic or anything.
You were on the house phone and she just picked up the other phone?
Yeah, and heard me talking to another guy. And
damn,
was like,
busted.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing.
That too.
Yeah, but when I took off the mask and I started telling my friends at high school that I was gay, they accepted me and they call me nicknames. That's how we were. They called me TT for auntie. But it made me feel like everything was okay. You know, that invisible bully wasn't a bully no more. When I stepped into my truth, I stepped into a new part of my life and I got to truly live. Like, and then I was like, oh my God, I didn't have this burden. And then I actually got to do what Jermaine liked. And I started to love myself.
Wow.
That was a whole great feeling. Let me tell you, it was like erotic.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Just because I think, I mean, we're in a special time because there was a time where you could not have done that and received that same amount of love and acceptance. Yeah. Like, you know, you would have had to wear the mask forever. Yeah. And so thank God for that, right? I mean, that I would imagine that would like definitely lead to suicide or something like something really not good.
Yeah, it can. It really truly can. So I just thank God that I'm in this generation where I can be able to openly express myself and live and be able to contribute to this healing energy. Because I think what the truth it does is not only does it give clarity, but it also provides healing. It provides a substance. It provides a genuine energy to the collective as a whole. Like, how my day goes can literally affect you. If I don't know you and I piss off you, that can make you pissed off, and then you turn around and piss off somebody else, and it's just like it's like a domino effect. But now you got somebody that's happy and they're truthful and they do good and they bless you or you bless them, and it's just like you put back into the world positive vibes. So yeah,
I think that's
rainbow.
Key. Yeah, absolutely. When it rains, I was going to say when it rains, it pours, but when it rains, the sun is still shining somewhere.
And be like Maya Angelou said, be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good. Yeah. I like that. So, I think that's a good place to end it, right? Yeah. Just be your truth. Know who you are, and don't be ashamed of who you are.
Use your discernment. You know your situation. Everybody's situation is different. There's some people that cannot come out because it could cost them their lives still in today's society. But
if you're in a place like that, if it's possible to get out of there, get out of there.
Yeah.
Get to somewhere where, you know, people have open minds.
Or but if you're in a position where
that's not an option.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just going to there.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I challenge people that are just afraid to you know, take a leap of faith, you know, and you know, and of course use your discernment. You know your situation better than anybody else, but you got to step out of the land of familiar into the land of unfamiliar to begin your journey.
Amen to that. Well, hey, Jermaine, do you have a last name?
Brooks.
Jermaine Brooks. It's been an absolute honor to have you here on Inspire.
It's been an honor to come on Inspired.
Distraction. Hey. Oh, shit. Let's try that again. Hey. All right, that was it. There's no music. We'll play some. And music start now.